Hey everyone, my name is Scruffy. Today I am presenting you the second guide for the Nerubar Palace raid in the War Within Season 1, the Bloodbound Horror. For all people that don't know me, I'm a guide writer for Path of Exile and World of Warcraft on your MMO. If you're interested in some more WoW guides, like our dungeon guides or class previews, make sure to check out my channel here on YouTube, and it would make me really happy if you would subscribe if you like these type of guides. There will always be seasonal guides for Path of Exile and World of Warcraft here on my channel, but you can also find more guides in written form on your MMO. Today, we are hopping into the Bloodbound Horror in normal and heroic difficulty. And without further ado, let's start with our Nerubar Palace raid guide. The Bloodbound Horror is a one-phase boss with several basic mechanics and one a bit more complicated one. Let's start with the basics. As a stationary boss, he has the typical be in range or I hurt you ability. Black Sepsis deals very heavy damage every 2 seconds as long as there are no player in melee range. The boss frequently uses Crimson Rain, applying a large heal absorb onto all players. This itself does not deal damage, but walking into the water will deal damage, so bear that in mind. Grasp from Beyond is a debuff that is afflicted on several players, causing them to spawn a void zone every 1 second for 12 seconds. These void zones themselves explode after 3 seconds, letting a tentacle erupt that deals damage to players struck inside. This has a 4 yards radius, so make sure to spread with players and don't walk it through other party members. Upon reaching 100 energy, he uses Gore Splatter, creating a large 60 yard circle around himself, which explodes after a few seconds. All players have to travel far back away from the boss, sometimes even crossing over the water. This deals deadly damage to players within those 60 yards, but anyways applies a damage over time debuff on all players for 10 seconds. In Heroic, Spewing Hemorrhage creates 2 laser beams coming out of the boss in opposing sides, rotating around the area. This leads to your whole raid to circle around the boss, sometimes even crossing the waters. In itself, this doesn't sound too harmful, but in combination with players spawning tentacles out of them and having heal absorbs on them, this could become a bit chaotic. That's already it for the basics. A fairly doable boss. Coming now to the last mechanic, and the most important one. Gruesome Disgorge is a frontal cone in the direction of the current tank. All players affected by this frontal will be sent into a phase, the Unseeming. In the Unseeming, players will encounter 2 adds that have to be controlled and defeated. Only the players inside the Unseeming can interact with them, and players in opposite phases cannot interact with each other. You can already detect where these adds will spawn by looking at the purple animation on one of the platforms around the boss. You want to be close to them whenever entering this phase, and the tank and assigned players should stand near them to deal with them quickly. Your raid has to be split into 2 groups which soak this Gruesome Disgorge frontal due to the Unseeming Blight debuff, increasing damage taken from Gruesome Disgorge by 500%. Gruesome Disgorge does not just deal initial damage, but also periodic damage for 40 seconds. Anyways, the 2 adds that you encounter in the Unseeming are a Lost Watcher and a Forgotten Harbinger. The Lost Watcher needs to be gathered by the tank and uses Spectral Slam to attack the tank with heavy damage. It sometimes tries to cast Black Bulwark into the boss, a channel cast that creates a large absorption shield on the boss every second, and this has to be interrupted instantly. And last, the Forgotten Harbinger channels Manifest Horror and are therefore very stationary, which is why you want to have your group close to the spawn location of these adds. Manifest Horror spawns little Bloodbound Horrors every few seconds that travel towards the boss and explode for damage on all players in all phases for heavy damage. You can control these adds and make sure to cleave them quickly before they reach the boss. After 40 seconds, the players are sent back to the regular phase, so your time in the Unseeming is limited. Then, it's time for the second assigned group to enter this phase by soaking the frontal cone. Repeat all of this until the boss is dead, and don't forget to loot the boss for your gold and your crests.